Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
All right. What's up? Welcome to Gonzo'S Sports Room. Monday, May 30th, 2022. Hope everybody had a good weekend with their families and a good Memorial Day. What's up? Welcome to Gonzo'S Sports Room. All right. Sounds all right. But yeah, hope you had a good weekend with your families, had a good Memorial Day. Big thank you to everybody that served this country and has made sacrifices for us to have the freedom that we have. I got a lot to talk about in sports tonight. We'll talk about the upcoming NBA finals starting this Thursday. Talk a little Kevin Durant. What's his future hold? Darvin Ham is the new Lakers coach. And we're also going to introduce a new segment to the show. It'll be the first segment that we've done on this show. And then also going to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball as well. Before we get started, don't forget we're live Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on with Easy Money, a sports betting show. You can find that show live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch at Gonzo Sports Room. You can also find it live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at the ASAP All Sports Network on as well. If you haven't checked out ASAP Sports Network, All Sports, All Plays Network, need to go check them out. Got a lot of good analysts over there. I host a afternoon show over there on that network as well. The ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Come check it out Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, they got a lot of good shows over there. ASAP in the morning, 10 a.m. Eastern. Great morning show. Got a lot of good talent over there. Go check it out. Also, don't forget to go check out Unscripted every every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can catch that on Facebook at Unscripted, or you can also catch it on the All Sports, All Plays ASAP Sports Network. Great group of guys over there. I'm on that show as well, usually every Tuesday and Thursday. But like I said, we'll start. And then we're also live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually at 11 p.m. Eastern with Just Show, G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room. Started at 11:30 tonight, but usually at 11. You can also find G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room and Easy Money, a sports betting show in podcast form. Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. You can also find a video version of us on Spotify as well. We also have a pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo's Wrestling Room. New episodes drop every Sunday at 9 a.m. Just had a new episode drop yesterday. Go check it out. We talked AEW Double or Nothing. Talked some Tony Khan. So go check that out. You can find it at Gonzo's Wrestling Room on Spotify, Anchor Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find it. You can also find a video version of it on our YouTube page at Gonzo's Sports Room. Again, new episodes drop every Sunday at 9 a.m. So be on the lookout for that. All right, before we jump into all the topics tonight, let's take a quick look at the Major League Baseball scores for today and the scores for games that we still have live right now. But no, today you had a bunch of baseball games. We had the Brewers defeat the Cubs 7-6 this afternoon in the first game of a doubleheader. You had the Tigers defeat the Twins at home 7-5. The Cardinals got a home win 6-3 over the Padres. Giants pick up a victory on the road 5-4 over the Phillies. Astros get a 5-1 victory over the Athletics on the road. The Rockies get a home win 7-1 over the Marlins. The Guardians get a home win 7-3 over the Royals. Mets get a home stay hot, get a home win 13-5 over the Washington Nationals. The Baltimore Orioles blow out the Red Sox 10-0 on the road. The Brewers defeated the Cubs 3-1 in Game 2 of the doubleheader. The Texas Rangers get a big home win over the Rays 9-5. The Diamondbacks get a big home win over the Braves 6-2. And you have the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Dodgers playing right now in the 5th inning with the Pirates up 4-0 on the Dodgers. The New York Rangers beat the Carolina Panthers in a Game 7 in the NHL playoffs to advance to the next round. So been quite a bit going on today. No basketball today because last night we had a big Game 7. You had the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, to see who was going to go take on the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. A Golden State Warriors team that's going to have a week's rest going into this series. But last night's game, it was actually ended up being the closest game of the series. Boston led the game wire to wire. Heat did make a run, made a close game there at the end. Jimmy Butler played a hell of a game, had a chance there at the end with the shot to give Boston the lead, or not Boston, give the Heat a lead with a 3-pointer. Personally, I thought he should have drove there, but he's hit that shot. I've seen him hit that shot in that series, so can't be mad at him for taking that shot. He lined it up. It looked good coming out of his hand, and he missed it. It happens. Celtics advance. Don't get me wrong. I thought the Celtics was the better team. I think they were the bigger team and the better team in that series, even with both teams healthy. The Heat their injuries caught up to them too much. I think Hero tried to play. He wasn't himself. Butler wasn't himself a couple games in the series. That's what cost him than anything, especially Butler playing as bad as he did 2 games. Yes, he played great those last 2 games. And yes, we should talk about that. And yes, he proved that he should be mentioned up there with some of the stars. But we also can't forget the 2 games that he played like trash. There was 2 games that Jimmy Butler didn't show up and play. Was it the injury? What was it? Who knows? But we can't just overlook the fact that he had 2 games where he played terrible. Yes, he played great in that series, and he carried Miami and almost got Miami to the NBA Finals. But we can't just gloss over the fact that he played terrible 2 games, or they might have won that series. I still think Boston was the better team. You have Tatum and Brown. Either one can go off on either night. Then you have Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart, who is just doing a lot of good things. The only thing that gets with Boston sometimes is it seems like sometimes they get in their own head when things get a little physical, and then they start turning the ball over with some lazy passes. If Boston starts turning the ball over in this series in the finals starting on Thursday night against the Warriors, they start turning the ball over with lazy passes like that, and they get in the mode where they start getting their heads a little bit because they're not getting some calls and they're just whining to the referees all the time. They could look up and they could be down 20 points. You can't go in these scoring lulls against the Warriors where you don't score 3 or 4 minutes and you're turning the ball over and you're just turning around crying to the referees. They get in that mode, which they did a couple times in the Heat series, they're going to be in trouble. Now, if they get in the mode where they stay focused like they did in Game 7 and play Celtic basketball and stay focused and don't worry about the referees, they are a tough team. Probably have the best defense in the league, going against one of the best offenses in the league. This, to me, is going to be a great series. I was hoping the Celtics would beat the Heat because I thought the Celtics and the Warriors would be a better series than what the Warriors and the Heat would be. I'm going with Warriors in 6 in this series. I think that just the way the Warriors play, they don't play ISO ball. So I think that's going to help the Warriors against the Heat. The Heat's physicality, or not the Heat, excuse me, the Celtics' physicality. because they keep the ball moving. It makes it a little harder to get physical with the guy when he's just not standing right in front of you the whole time. I think Curry running around could really start to fatigue some of the Celtics players like Smart and maybe Tatum, whoever else they have try to follow Curry the whole time. Uh, that can wear you out. Curry does a lot off the ball. Yes, he does a lot with the ball in his hand. Dude's probably the best shooter that's ever played the game. But if you watch a Golden State Warriors game and you watch, Curry does so much off the ball by one, getting space on the floor for other teammates to be able to score, and then by two, just his movement off the ball. It wears the defense out. Whoever has to chase Curry around for the whole game is wore out by the fourth quarter because the dude never stops moving. People don't give him enough credit for his conditioning level and to be able to play the game the way he plays it. Dude's just not standing around waiting on the ball. He is running off the ball, and you have to chase him. You have to be right on him, because if you're not right on him and stuck against him, he's going to score on you. Either he's going to get the ball and get a three, or he's going to be dribbling wide open somewhere, or get a teammate involved. So Curry is an X factor that I think people underrate some. Even with all his greatness, you still hear people, "Oh, he don't have a Finals MVP. He don't have this." Well, okay, but he's the first unanimous league MVP, multiple rings, been in the finals 6 of the last 8 seasons, but still gets looked at as only a shooter. I think Curry's going to have a big series. I know you're going to have defensive player of the year Smart on him a lot, but I still think Curry's going to make a big difference in this series. He's going to get his Finals MVP that he deserved years ago when they got their first championship and Iguodala was named Finals MVP. But then people just find something else to complain about. Really, the only weakness he has is his size, and he just can't D up people as well as maybe you would like. But he does at least put some effort in on defense. And a lot of people are overlooking. Here's something people are overlooking going into this series: Golden State's defense. All we're talking about is the Celtics defense, which rightly so. They're right up there as the best defense in the league. But we forget the Warriors have a good defense as well. Draymond Green is a good defender. Wiggins is a good defender. Wiggins is going to be the X factor in this series to me. If Wiggins keeps playing the way he's been playing in these playoffs, the Warriors have a great chance to win in the finals. Wiggins has been a guy that I think's been a little bit under talked about the way he's played in the playoffs for the Warriors because of how great Steph has been, how good Jordan Poole has been. Klay Thompson got going there in game 6 and scored 30-something points, or game 5. So Wiggins has got overshadowed a little bit. But Andrew Wiggins has been balling here in these playoffs, and he could very well be the X factor of this series against the Celtics. And you can't forget how great he is on the defensive side of the ball. He's probably going to be on Brown and on Tatum a lot during these games. And I think Andrew Wiggins is a very underlooked piece to this NBA Finals, because I think his defense on that side of the ball, and then the offense that he's been adding here in the NBA playoffs could really be an X factor in this series. I think it's going to be a good series. It's going to be I think you're going to get a lot of more closer games. Don't think we're going to see the blowouts like we've seen in the Celtics and Heat series. I think this Heat or Celtics and Warriors series is going to be a lot closer series. Fun series to watch. I got the Warriors in 6. I think Warriors in 6. I think Steph Curry is going to have a big finals and be the finals MVP. I just think this is the Warriors' year. They're healthy. Andrew Wiggins has been a big piece for him. Jordan Poole's been a big piece for him to add with your core of Klay and Steph and Draymond Green. They're hungry. They want to prove. I mean, everybody said the Warriors would never make another finals. I think they wanted to prove that they can win one without KD. Yes, they won one before KD got there, but then the way they lost and then got KD, everybody said they had to have KD. Everybody said after KD left, they'd never make another finals. Well, they made a finals. Now this is their chance to win one without KD. A lot of people are asking, does this does this finals, if the Warriors win it, does it affect KD's legacy? I don't think so. How uh, hey, he made the choice to leave. You have the choice to go play where he had the choice. He had that choice to go where he wanted to go. I mean, that's what happens when you're a free agent. You get to choose where you want to go play. He didn't want to play with the Warriors no more. Them winning another one without him, I don't say says anything. It just says they were a good team. I mean, everybody knew they were a great team before they got Durant. They shouldn't have lost that finals. They lost. I still don't think they lose that finals if Draymond Green don't get ejected and get suspended the game. That changed the whole momentum of that series. I think they win that finals, and we're not even talking about KD. So I don't think in any way the Warriors winning the championship affects KD's legacy. I think KD? I think KD made the wrong choice by leaving. I don't know why you don't stay with the Warriors, get healthy, and go win probably 2 or 3 more rings. Because if you still had KD on this team, man, they would be more lethal, especially with everybody being healthy. But I don't think it affects him because the Warriors, like I said, was a great team before he got there, and they're proving they're still a great team after he left. Did they have a bad year last year? Yes, but that was with Steph breaking his hand. Clay was out with the injury. Now look what they're showing with their core of Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green all healthy. A Jordan Poole that's balling out of his mind. An Andrew Wiggins, that first-time All-Star, having a career year. Proving maybe he was overdrafted, but that he's not a bust. That he can be a good to great player in this league, put in the right situation. I hope he stays with Golden State. Hope they re-sign him. He stays with Golden State. He's a big part of this team. To get to the finals and get a championship, he's just not along for the ride. He's a big part of it. I mean, without his defense and some of the offense he's had, they wouldn't be in the finals. So you can't say Wiggins hasn't been a big role in this. And like I said, I think Wiggins has the potential to probably be the X factor in this series. He could really be the X factor in this series because of his defensive presence, and then what he can give you on the offensive end as well. When he gets going, he can give you 20 to 25 points in a game easily. I mean, and especially when he gets to feeling and he's hitting this shot from the outside, you could be in big trouble. But no, really looking forward to the NBA Finals this Thursday, Game 1, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be covering it, so make sure you join us. If you have any topics you want to hear us talk about, hit them up in the throw them up in the comments. Hit us up on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Gonzo Sports Room. You can find me at Chris D. Gonzalez on Facebook or Chris Gonzalez on Twitter and Instagram as well. But if anything you want to hear us talk about, hit us up. We're always looking for guests. Anybody, if you would be interested in coming on G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room, talking some sports with us. Usually, sometimes there's some other guys here as well. Hit me up on social media, and we'll get it set up. Also, still would like to find somebody that would like to be on with me for Easy Money, a sports betting show, live 3 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. If you're interested in that, would like to jump on, talk some, give out some predictions for sports, and just talk some sports Monday through Friday. Easy Money, a sports betting show. Still looking for somebody that would like to join us on that show. Like I said, we're always looking for guests for G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room. If you're interested in being on and talking some sports, hit us up. Social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. Or like I said, you can hit me up at Chris Gonzalez on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. All right, let's talk a little bit of Kevin Durant. Rumor is Kevin Durant is going to demand a trade if the Brooklyn Nets do not keep Kyrie Irving. So the question is, if you're the Nets, do you keep Kyrie Irving? I say there's no way I'm signing Kyrie Irving to a long extension. I'll sign Kyrie Irving to a 1-year deal. And then with maybe some kind of option for a second year. But I would not sign Kyrie Irving to a multiple year deal unless somehow he could convince me that he's 100% committed. I mean, Kyrie Irving has not played over 65 games in the last 7 seasons. So when you talk about Kyrie Irving not playing, it's just not this season. I'm not talking about the vaccine stuff because I really don't care about that. I mean, that's his choice. That's here and there. Yes, it affected the team because he wasn't there, but I'm not going to hold that as much against him. But it's not just this season. For 7 seasons in a row, he has not played more than 65 games in a season. And if you look at his teams, a lot of his teams have played better since he's left LeBron. A lot of the teams that Kyrie Irving has been on have looked better when he's not there. Look at the Boston Celtics. Yes, Kyrie's a great player, but look at the Boston Celtics. They were 1 game away from the finals without Kyrie Irving. With an injured Kyrie Irving that didn't play, that said he was coming back to Boston, then left. The Boston Celtics looked like a better team. The team flowed better when Kyrie Irving was not there. Think about that. They were better with Terry Rozier as their point guard than they were with Kyrie Irving. And that's not a knock against Terry Rozier because Terry Rozier is a solid player in this league. Solid player in the NBA. But Kyrie Irving is considered a superstar, considered one of the best ball handlers and best point guards to ever play the game. And the Boston Celtics were better without him. Something doesn't click. He goes to the Nets, gets injured, comes back, can't play because he's not vaccinated. Then he can't play at home. Comes out, plays games, but then he wants to whine at the end of the season about the team not having chemistry when you're a big reason the team didn't have chemistry. KD played his ass off and then gets buried by the media because he gets swept. And he didn't play great in that series. KD did not play great in that series. Boston beat him up. They got physical with him, and he could never get in the rhythm. But if you're the Brooklyn Nets and you sign a long-term deal with Kyrie Irving, to me, you're setting your team back maybe 4 to 5 years. And I'm sorry. If I have to lose Durant because I don't want to sign Kyrie Irving to a long-term extension, bye. Kevin Durant's a great player, but what has Kevin Durant done for Brooklyn? They got swept in the first round of the playoffs. They haven't accomplished anything. Him and Irving together, this super team of friends that teamed up that was going to go to Brooklyn and make history. Yeah, they made history, all right, to just be one of the ones that just was a surprise at how bad they end up being. So if you're the Brooklyn Nets, I don't sign Kyrie Irving to a long-term extension. Yes, he's a great player. Yes, but he has not been a team player. He's more of I think he's a selfish guy. I think the Nets would be better off without him. I think Kevin Durant needs to not follow him. But if Kevin Durant decides to demand a trade and say he's following Irving and that if Brooklyn does not re-sign Irving to an long-term extension that he wants to demand a trade, I start looking for trade options for Durant. But just Kyrie Irving hasn't showed he's committed. I would sign him to a 1-year deal. If he won't take a 1-year deal, go play somewhere else. You haven't showed that you're committed to playing basketball. And that's what I need you to be committed for. That's what this contract for. This contract isn't for you to sit at home, do whatever you're doing. This contract is for you to play basketball. And that's if you're not committed to that, I can't sign you. And you haven't proved to me that you're committed to that, especially not enough for me to sign you to a long-term multi-million dollar deal. No. I'll sign you to a 1-year deal. You show you're fully committed. Then maybe we'll talk an extension. But until you show you're fully committed, there's no way if I'm the Brooklyn Nets. I give him longer than a 1-year deal. And if Durant wants to demand a trade for that, hey, yeah, it'd be a big loss losing Durant because of how great of a player he is. But go back and rebuild your team with the core that you have, and let Durant and Kyrie go run ruckus on some other organization. But we'll see what the Nets decide to do. They'll probably end up keeping both of them and trying to bring some guys in and run it back. They need to get a coach that they respect, that has control of that locker room, that doesn't have players running around saying we don't need a coach. I think that would really help. I think the culture there in Brooklyn is broken, so they need a coach that can fix that. And I think with if you have a committed Irving with a hungry Durant, uh, you could be contenders. But I'm just not sure how committed Kyrie Irving is. Also this weekend we had the Lakers hired a new head coach. Darvin Ham hired as the head coach of the Lakers. Uh, been an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks for the last few years. Was a former assistant coach with the Lakers. I think it's a good hire. Other than the fact when you get hired as the Lakers coach, you're basically a puppet. I haven't read all the things. I don't know if they're going to let him, if he actually gets to bring in his own assistants, or if they're going to do like they did with Vogel and they keep the assistants they want. I haven't really read into that much yet. I do think Darvin Ham's a good hire because I think I think the players respect him. I think this does put Darvin Ham in a tough situation. First time ever being a head coach and having to coach a superstar like LeBron James, where everything you do is going to be under a microscope. Uh, everything that happens is going to be with the Lakers. So not only is LeBron James there that puts everything under a microscope, you're with the Los Angeles Lakers, who are one of the most historic franchises in the league. So they're always under a microscope. So it's a tough situation to go into as a first time head coach. I hope he does have some success. I think the Lakers as a roster are structurally just bad right now, and I'm not sure what Pelinka can do to get him out of it for this season. I think they're going to be stuck with Westbrook this season, and then they're just going to have to hope they can get a bench that's going to help them. I do agree. I think this is LeBron's last year, and I agree. I think this is LeBron's last year in LA. I actually see LeBron going back to Cleveland. I think LeBron is going to go back to home to Cleveland and see if he can make one last push at a championship there. They have a good young core there. You could add if you add a veteran like a LeBron, could really propel that team. So I can see him maybe going back to Cleveland and trying to win one more there close to home. But yes, I agree. I think LeBron is gone from LA after this year. And I mean, yeah, you're in LA, so they're expecting championships. We'll see what Ham will be able to produce. I just don't think Ham's going to have a great roster. Uh, I just don't think he's going to be given the best roster to succeed. We'll see what Pelinka can do with the limited money they have, what he can add, what he'll be able to add to the Lakers to make the Lakers a contender. Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, he wants to play at least 1 year with the Suns. So yeah, I can see him. I'll see him leave. Yeah, I'm not saying he's leaving out of anger either. I just think he's going to leave for another opportunity. And I can see Cleveland, especially if Cleveland cannot get an opportunity to draft his son. That'd be like the perfect story for him and his son to play together close to home, where y'all started. So I could see something like that would be happening. I think that'd be cool if him and his son could play together in Cleveland. And so, but I could also see your point. If his son gets drafted high, it's not going to be a team. Could not be on a team like Cleveland, because right now Cleveland looks like they're on the upward direction. So it could end up being a team that's on the rebuild, which that'd give us a chance to see LeBron go play with some younger players, where he's going to will be real committed because his son's one of them younger players as well, and see how he could kind of mentor that team and help that team grow for when he does retire, for that team to be able to have continued success. I think that'd be something cool to see. Uh, like I said, I hope Darvin Ham has some success, because I'd like to see him. I like Darvin Ham. I think he's a great coach. I'd like to see him have success as a head coach. Glad he's getting a chance as a head coach. Just think he's walking into a tough situation there in LA. But all right, I want to thank everybody joining us. We are going to take a short little break. Enjoy this video while we take a short break, and then we will be right back. And we're going to jump right into a new segment here on actually be the first segment we've done on G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room, but it's going to be a new reoccurring segment. We will start it right after this short video. We appreciate everybody joining us. Don't forget, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. Follow us. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. We appreciate the support. You can also check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports/merch. You can also find that link going across the bottom of the screen in the ticker. We got t-shirts, hats, different things available there. We also have some of our GWR Gonzo Wrestling Room shirts, Easy Money, a sports betting show shirts. So go check out our merch. There's also a donation page there. If you'd like to donate to help the show grow, we'd greatly appreciate that as well. But enjoy this short video, and we will be right back.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
All right, well, welcome back to the show, G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room. Just here right at midnight. Going to jump into a new segment on the show. It's actually the first segment on this show. Some of you know, if you have been following the show, I've been covering the Indiana Fever, getting ready to start having media credentials to be at the games for the press conferences and stuff. But I've been writing some articles on them. You can find those articles on the ASAP All Sports All Play, ASAPSportsNetwork.net. Check out their website. You can find them articles. You can also find them articles on our Gonzo Sports Room Facebook page. I've been sharing them out. I've wrote a couple articles on the Cincinnati Reds as well. But the new segment we're going to start tonight, we're going to talk some WNBA. We're going to talk Indiana Fever. It's going to be a reoccurring segment that we're going to do on Monday nights. And it's going to be called Catch the Fever. We're going to talk some WNBA basketball, Indiana Fever. Fever have had a rough weekend, kind of a big week here at the same time. They fired their head coach on Wednesday. Brought in the assistant coach, named the assistant coach Coach Knox as the interim head coach. They fired Marianne Stanley after she got off to a 2-7 start on the season. The Fever had a great drafted a lot of young talent. This Fever team has showed a lot of improvement, even though the record has not reflected that. They were 2-7 on the season, so they fired Stanley. They named Carlos Knox as the new interim head coach. Fever come out Friday and play a great game against the Sparks in Coach Knox's debut as head coach. Fever get a 101-96 win over Sparks. Ogumike had 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. Kelsey Mitchell added 22 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. And Fever picked up a big win to get some momentum for their new head coach. Now they're 3-7 on the season. They're halfway to as many victories on the season this year as they've had the last 2 years. They've had six wins the last 2 seasons. They played the Sky, the defending champions, last week to a 95-90. Yes, they lost that game, but they proved that they're a young, scrappy team and that they are improving. They took the defending champions right down to the wire on the road on championship night, where they dropped the championship banner and everything. And they played the Chicago Sky real tough. Yes, it was a loss, but they showed that, hey, we can play with these teams. I think this is a young, scrappy team that is starting to gain some confidence. I think Coach Knox is a is going to do a good job. He has a lot of experience. They actually just hired a new assistant coach, Gary Kloppenberg, who has been a former Indiana Fever assistant coach. Uh, they did the Fever also waived Alana Smith today, so they made some roster moves. But again, I like this young, scrappy team. They have a big game coming up tomorrow as they play the Mystics tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'll be watching that. If you haven't watched it, if you don't watch the WNBA, you're missing out. The WNBA don't get promoted enough. I'll tell you why. I've been watching it a lot more this season than I ever have, and the WNBA put on some competitive games. I've watched almost all the Fever games this season, and I've really enjoyed watching it. I'm looking forward to actually getting to start covering the games here real soon. But no, I think I've been watching this Fever team. Like I said, they're improving, and I really think by the end of the year they're going to be a dangerous team. Not saying they're going to win a WNBA championship or anything this season, but I think that they're going to win more games this year than they did last year. I think they're going to make a little bit of noise toward the end of the year, and people are going to start talk around the WNBA are going to start talking that the Fever are making a return and getting back to their winning ways, and I think the rest of the NBA is going to start catching the Fever. That's going to be a new little segment we're going to do every week, talk a little bit about the Indiana Fever here on Gonzo'S Sports Room, G.S.R. Like I said, you can find the articles I've wrote on them. You can find them on our Facebook page where I'm shared them. But go to ASAP Sports Network, go to their website. You can find all the articles I've wrote on the Indiana Fever. You can find the articles I wrote on the Cincinnati Reds. I'm working on another article now on the Reds, and I'm going to be writing some articles on the Indianapolis Colts and on the Indiana Pacers as well. So be on the lookout for those. You can find them articles on the All Sports, All Plays Network, ASAP Sports Network, on their website. And you can also find them on our social media pages at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. All right, we're going to talk a little baseball real quick. Had a lot of baseball today. My favorite team is the Cincinnati Reds. They didn't play today. We'll talk a little bit about them. But a team I want to talk about that I think has surprised a lot of people. I thought they would be an improved team this year, but I don't think very many people thought they would be getting off to the start they have, and that's the New York Mets. The New York Mets are balling, and they're kind of just quietly doing it. Nobody's really talking about how good the New York Mets have been this season, and the New York Mets were 32-17 going into the day. And they're hitting 261 as a team. They have a team ERA of 3.75, so their pitching staff has been pitching well. The Mets are going to be a scary team this year, and I like it. It's always makes baseball more interesting when the teams in the big markets like New York, especially if the Yankees and Mets are both good. It just makes baseball even better. Even though I'm not a fan of either one. But both teams are good this year. So especially when they play each other, it's going to make it fun. And who knows, you can maybe see Yankees and Mets in the playoffs, maybe for a World Series or something. Wouldn't that be great for a lot of people to see a Subway Series? I'm not saying we're going to get that this year, but I do expect the Mets to play a part in the playoffs this year and could play a major role if they can stay healthy and their pitching can keep pitching at the level they are pitching. But I want to talk about the Cincinnati Reds for a minute. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Should have won 5 in a row yesterday. Blew a game. They've lost a game a couple weeks ago where they pitched a no-hitter. They started off the season 1-23. Since then, they have a winning record. So they are working their way back, but they just dug themselves too big of a hole, probably to be able to compete for the postseason this year. We'll see if they just maybe turn around and have a great All-Star break. But they got rid of too much last year for one. You got rid of too much from last year's team, too much pitching. The pitching is what's going to hurt us. Our offense is starting to get better. We're starting to get healthy. India's coming back to the lineup. You're getting Senzel back in the lineup. Moustakas is healthy. Votto's back healthy. So we're starting to get some of our bats back, but our starting pitching is getting better. Starting pitching is starting to show up. Our relief pitching is terrible. Our manager is flat terrible. David Bell needs fired. I think it's been long overdue that they get rid of David Bell. Uh, they need to get rid of David Bell, and I almost think they need to get rid of this GM. I'm not sold on on this new GM. Uh, what have you built? You're not building nothing. You built a team last year that was close to the playoffs, that showed some promise. Injuries kind of derailed it some. Yes, that happens a lot, it seems like, with the Reds, but injuries derailed it some. And instead of at least keeping some of that core, let's get rid of Castellanos, which I was afraid that was going to happen because the Reds just aren't going to pay a player like he deserved to be paid. But you get rid of, not only do you get rid of him, then you send away Winker, which that move made absolutely no sense to me at all. Why send away Jesse Winker? Keep Winker. I can understand the Suarez move. Suarez hasn't been the same player the last year, so I can understand letting him go. But then letting go Sonny Gray, letting go Wade Miley. Why are we letting go of all of our pitching? Lost our closer. And then David Bell, just situational manager. He's terrible, and I know a lot of it isn't on him because he's just basically a puppet to the Reds' analytical team. Numbers don't always work. Numbers don't always win in baseball. Look at your numbers. We pitched a fucking no-hitter and lost. It's not always about the numbers. It's about the feel of the game. It's about who has the momentum in the game. If a pitcher's going hot, if a pitcher's rolling in the sixth inning, hadn't gave up nothing, you don't take him out before the seventh inning because he's getting ready to face the lineup for the third time because analytically that's what it says to do. No, if that pitcher's rolling and has only thrown 80 pitches through 6 innings, put him back out there in the damn seventh and see what he can do. Don't just pull him. Don't be in a hurry to get to your bullpen, who is terrible. That's what I hate about David Bell. It'd be one thing if the bullpen was good, if you wanted to be in a hurry to get to your bullpen. But no, let's get to a hurry to get to our bullpen and wear out our bullpen arms that are already no good aren't very good to begin with. Our bullpen has been trashed this year. So, but no, let's extend them and let's make them pitch more innings. If you have a starter that's rolling in the sixth inning and has only thrown 80 fucking pitches, you do not take him out. And it's not just like it happens one time with David Bell. It happens all the time. He gets in a big hurry to get to the bullpen for some reason, and the bullpen's no good, and then we end up losing the game. And it happened again yesterday. We were up 2-0. I pitched basically a no-hitter going into the eighth. Bring out the bullpen, and boom, we lose the fucking game. Let the guy stay in if he's rolling, and he's only thrown 85 pitches. I can understand if he's thrown like 115 through 7 or 8 innings. I understand. You have to get him out there. You got to protect his arm because you need him for the rest of the season. The 80 pitches, but we're going to pull him just because this is going to be the third time he faced a guy. Now, come on, that's just not. You can't go. I don't think any sport you can just go by analytics, but especially in baseball. Baseball is a game of failure. You can't always go by the numbers. You got to go by the feel, how the game is going, how the pitcher's control is. How much pressure is on the pitcher? Is he comfortable out there? Does he look like he's struggling? You have to put all that into it, not just a number. Oh, he's going to face him for the third time. We need to bring in this pitcher. It just amazes me how many managers do that and how many managers keep their jobs. That all they want to do is all they are puppets, and they're just all they are driven by is analytically. I wouldn't take a job as a manager if I was told I was just basically a puppet. If I don't have the control to manage my team the way I feel that team needs to be managed to win, why the hell would I want to go manage your team? Put one of your analytical guys up there and let them manage the team and go by their numbers all the time and see where that gets you. That's just my rant for the night on the Cincinnati Reds. I think they need to get rid of David Bell. I've been saying that for about two to 3 seasons now, but they seem to still believe in him. Hell, they even have his dad, Buddy Bell, as advisor now to the GM. I'm not sure how great of a move that is, but I guess we'll find out. Looks like like I said, the Reds' offense is starting to pick up. We've been playing better, but we dug ourselves a hole by winning one of our first 23 games. I just don't know if we'll even be able to dig ourselves out of that to where we can really compete to try to get a playoff spot this season. We'll see. I mean, maybe, hey, who knows? Maybe the bullpen will catch fire. But from what I've seen from the bullpen, I don't see the Reds competing this year. I think this is just going to be another down year. It has been a good year on some aspects, getting to see like Hunter Green starting to really grow as a starting pitcher. His last 4 or 5 starts, he's looked real good. So, I mean, that's good to see. We're seeing some good things from some of our young players. But we got to get that to mesh and to go into wins. And I just think our manager hurts us a lot by putting some of them players in situations that they really shouldn't be in yet. And the manager just, for some reason, being in a hurry to get to the bullpen. I don't know. I think it's time to go in a new direction and time for David Bell to be gone from Cincinnati. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. That's going to be it for G.S.R. Gonzo'S Sports Room for the night. Don't forget, we're live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You can also find us in podcast form, Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all at Gonzo'S Sports Room. You guys can also find a video version on Spotify as well. Please go subscribe to our YouTube page at Gonzo'S Sports Room. I have a lot of content on there. We also have a pro wrestling podcast, GWR Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. You can find it at Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, all at Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. And you can also find the video version of it on our YouTube page at Gonzo'S Sports Room. New episodes drop every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern. New episode dropped yesterday. I think it's one of our best ones yet. So please go check it out. Please hit that subscribe button over on YouTube as well. Please rate and review the podcast. We greatly appreciate that. Also, don't forget, we stream it live, Independent Pro Wrestling. We have shows on our YouTube and Facebook pages with Hall of Famer Rikishi there, Carlito, Epico, Primo, the Pope, Elijah Burke. If you're a pro wrestling fan, go check out our YouTube and Facebook page. There's a lot of pro wrestling stuff. We have another live independent show that we'll be streaming here on next one is June 11th live from Kokomo, Indiana. We'll be at AACW there in Kokomo. Last time we was there, we had a great time. It was a great show. Really looking forward to it. We'll be putting out more information about that on our social media pages. But we'll be live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch for that on June 11th, I believe, around like 7:05 p.m. Eastern time. We'll also have another live event on June 18th. We'll be live from a Juneteenth festival, and there'll be a DCCW will be having a free wrestling show there. We'll be live covering it, doing live commentary from the festival there on Saturday, June 18th. Not exactly sure on the time yet. I'll have more information on that soon. We also have a big show at the end of June. That's going to be at Danville Fairgrounds with Warrior Pro Wrestling. That's going to be an awesome show. I heard there's going to be some big surprises, big show. So we'll be broadcasting there live from the Danville County Fair. So make sure you come join us for that if you're a pro wrestling fan. We'll be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. We give out a pick for every Major League Baseball game. Then I also give out my best picks of the day after the show. We do NBA as well, NFL. But tomorrow will basically be baseball because that's all that's going on right now. And then we also be live on the ASAP Sports Network at 1 p.m. Eastern with the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Come join us there. 2 or 3 other analysts get on there with me. We'll be talking NBA playoffs. We'll talk trades. We'll be talking a lot of stuff tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern there at the over there for the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Have a great night. Stay safe. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Dad. Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.